I can see the argument that older games required people to be more creative. Well, hello there, and welcome to Duck Hunt! Yes. Probably one of the older first-person shooters. Technically. It can technically be considered a first-person shooter, probably. Get out of there, dog. You know, using a pointer almost makes this seem like cheating, doesn't it? I'm sure there are some tricky aspects to this. Yeah, let's see you laugh at me now, dog. There you go, buddy. Definitely gonna have to switch this up to 2 ducks. They are so predictable. Hey, buddy. Then again, this is only the first level. Well, the first round. Saying level would imply that there's more to this. I think it's more like they get faster over time. There you go, buddy. Perfection. Alright, dog, get out of there. You know, actually, what I should be doing is, for this one, I should actually be capturing the cursor. There we go. Now you can see exactly where I'm shooting. Get out of here, you mutt. Yeah, much better, right? I'm exposing my inputs. And probably just how jerkily and slow-moving I am. That one tried to get away. Too bad for you, you're not gonna get away. Go on, buddy. What you got, huh? Oh, that's all you got, huh? Fool! Heh. Perfection. I've got my eye on you, dog. There's really not that much else to this, aside from the ducks getting faster. Nice tree, though. I love the nicely rendered tree right there. You know, for NES standards. Ah, well, what do you know? I actually missed a shot. This might get more interesting. Oh, go on! What are you waiting for? Christmas? At least they randomize their patterns. That makes it a little more tricky. And it's not always a cinch. Let's just skip through this. This is just filler anyway. There you go, buddy. I think I'll go through one more round, and then I'll be good. Then I'll switch it to 2. I need to make this faintly interesting for myself. Aside from my eyes getting dust in them. Or whatever's floating around in the air. Because something's getting my eyes. Yes, I'm going to use that as an excuse when I fail. Don't you worry about that. Like there. I wasn't even distracted at that point, but I'm going to claim anything just to avoid saying that I missed outright. I love how the screen flashes white. That's because for the original Zapper, the screen had to flash white to show where you shot. That way it applies to the game. That's its way of sort of tricking around it. Because I don't think it would be able to register it otherwise. It has to do that. Although it actually works to the game's advantage, it gives the impression of a muzzle flash or something of that nature. Alright, I think it's time for us to move a little bit further beyond. Let's go for 2 ducks. Wait, what? It's not working. That's weird. Oh, I guess I have to press select. Wait, no. Frick. Wrong one. Okay, there we go. Now we're talking. 2 ducks instead of 1. That ought to make things a little more interesting, shouldn't they? Now I have 2 of them to worry about. And technically the dog doesn't laugh at you if you get at least 1. Man, they're getting trickier. Crafty fowls. I was gonna say swine or bovine, but that's pig. Crafty waterfowl. Really don't like your foul behavior. Get the duck out of here, mother ducker. Yeah, this is a little trickier. You only get 3 shots, too. Which means you only have a margin of error of 1 shot. If you miss more than 1 shot, there's no way you're getting both of them. It looks like I shot the dog. Because right as I click down... Yep, see, now 1's getting away. But at least I shot 1 of them, so the dog won't laugh at me. All the ducks you shot so a dog wouldn't laugh at you. Oh, there we go. This is getting tricky. Not only are there 2 ducks, but each of them seems to be harder to hit for some reason, compared to before. They seem to move around a lot more. That's probably the point. Yeah, I missed 1, who cares? That's right, you better get down. Let's see how long I can keep this up, huh? Those red ones seem to be especially tricky. Maybe I'm just fooling myself. Huh, I somehow hit that one. I'm pretty sure I thought I missed outright. Maybe I just happened to click down on the mouse as I was jerking up. There we go. Maybe I just gotta wait for my chance. It takes them a little while before they start flying off. I gotta be patient here. Perfection. Not too shabby. I think I'll do 1 more round. Uh-oh. Only 1? Consider that a failure. Yeesh. They are getting tricky. Oh. I guess you can't get 2 for 1. That's a shame. Yeesh. That is tricky. That one wasn't even in an escape sequence. It just went off screen. Whatever. Okay, I got over 50,000. That's not too shabby, I think. Let's try clay shooting. Let's see if I'm any better with that. You'd think I would. This is the part that people don't tend to talk about. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Just gotta predict where they're gonna be. Also, they give you a margin of error due to the fact that it was originally a light gun. Of course, it's gonna reach the point where it's gonna be difficult even with a mouse. Because I have the benefit of a cursor. Uh-oh. See, I told you. Granted, I did hit all of them, but that was still pretty tough. Perfection. I doubled my score. Go on. Shoot them out. Huh. If I do it at the height of their arc, obviously because they move less, that's a lot easier. Go figure. At the arc, at the top of the arc, you know, when it moves up and then starts going down, that's the easiest, that's the best time, because then it's slowed down a sufficient amount. At least vertically. Horizontally, if it's going this way or that way, it's still going to be moving around quite fast, but this seems to be the best method. Fire 'em up, Johnny. Huh. Thank goodness for that margin of error. Whoops. Or I could just aim a little bit down from where their top arc is going to be. The best thing you can do for this is to try to predict where they'll land. Unlike the ducks, these aren't going to move around. They're just in one solid, continuous arc. So if you can predict their movements, that makes it easy. See? 3 perfect rounds. It's all about prediction. Look at all those trees. That's it. You gonna do it? There we go. Not too shabby. You know, those don't even look like claymores, they kind of look like pies. Is it weird that I think that? Ah, crap. I missed one. Huh. I guess the margin isn't that great. It's not so great that it's going to compensate for someone who outright misses. Oh, great, my score has 69 in it. Hey. Not for long. Sorry to spoil the fun. But this had to end eventually. I think this is good enough. One last round. Because this isn't the most exciting, I know. Huh. Yeah, I'm doing way too well in this. Maybe I should go back to the duck hunting for a little bit. How many rounds are there, typically? Or is it just until you fail? Let's find out, shall we? I'm actually interested to see when this will end. That's some impressive claymore throwing, though, if you look at it for scale. Because those are a lot of trees, so this must be a very long field. And those are mountains in the distance, at least I think they are. I doubt they're just big hills. So those are basically mountains, and those are trees. If you think about it for scale, those claymores are going a long way. That must be shot out of something with power. Over 100,000. Now we're talking. Not too shabby. Only shame there aren't clouds. But I guess that's because there's only so many colors it can have at once. Only so much graphical data that it can store and display at once. Obviously, RAM and cartridge space were extremely small. In fact, I did learn, if any of you have ever heard of Retro City Rampage, they actually managed to get that working on an NES cartridge, and I saw a video on YouTube showing the arduous process that they had to go through. They basically had to flip sprites, they had to remove a lot of the detailing because of the limited RAM. They basically had to convert the entire programming language just to get it to run as efficiently on the NES as possible. But I mean, all things considered, they managed to get it impressively intact. You probably aren't going to find a more impressive looking open world type game on the NES. In fact, there aren't that many to begin with. I think there's Zelda, and maybe Final Fantasy games, but those don't look nearly as good as Retro City Rampage does, which apparently started out as a demake of GTA 3. It's always fascinating to see the history of games. And there was another game, I'm not even sure what it's called, but it's a side-scroller game. It originally used large player sprites, but then that ate up a lot of data, so they were changed into basically mini versions of their characters, you know, like little chibi versions of characters, which fit much better in the NES space. And with a boss, they actually had to chop out a lot of it. They basically flipped any sprites they could and remade a lot of the sprite, well, you know, reused parts of the sprite. Anything that wasn't completely symmetrical, it became symmetrical so that it could make better use of the space. It's all good stuff. And then, of course, even the levels themselves were split into tiles, and a lot of them were symmetric. Well, not so much perfectly symmetrical, because that would be very boring level design, but they managed to make some of it be symmetrical so that it would save on space. The point is, they had to optimize the hell out of it. I can see the argument that older games required people to be more creative, because they really had to do some creative things to make it work. You know what? I'm just going to miss every shot. Let's see what happens. I think I'm ready to end this round. To end this off. Just going to lose on purpose. This is me retiring from claymore shooting. Game over. That's fine. I made over 100,000. I was missing on purpose. Top score. That's a big top score, isn't it? Alright, come on, you dog. It's tricky. So, yeah, like I said, limitations can force people to be creative. Of course, some games, in my opinion, more use the retro style as a gimmick. They don't so much try to work around limitations as they do use it because they know that a lot of people are nostalgic and they want to hit that tone. Obviously not all games, but some of the games are like that. In my personal opinion, Strafe is a little bit like that. Because, let's be real, that game would never run on 90s hardware. In fact, newer computers have trouble running it, so it's not like they actually respected the limitations of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game. It's actually pretty fun, but you can tell that the 90s style, Quake 1 style graphics were a gimmick because it's so resource intensive. It might be because of all the blood calculations, the volumetrics and all that crap, where it decals on the walls and the floors and everything. That might eat up a lot of performance, but still. If you want to talk about a game that's Quake 1 styled, in that's a similar style, but it actually plays to the limitations better, I would say that Dusk goes for that. I'm not sure if it uses one of the old engines or not. It might use Gold Source or something, or probably the Quake 1 engine. But it looks like it could have run on 90s hardware because, I mean, new hardware is basically nothing. It's nothing, dude, new hardware. Which leads me to think that it might have been able to work on old hardware at the time that it's based off of. I think that's how you can tell if they're just using old graphics as a gimmick, or if they're actually trying to hold themselves to the limitations of that era. You have to ask yourself, if this was on hardware at the time, how well would it have been able to run? If the answer is not at all, then it's probably more of a gimmick than anything else. Because that means they're not actually holding themselves to that limitation. There's really no reason to have those limitations, other than just because you want to appeal to that market. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not damning the creators of Strafe or anything. I'm just making an observation. In fact, I think one of the cooler aspects of Strafe is that there's apparently a hidden arcade machine somewhere that I never found that basically has a Wolfenstein 3D type game in it. That's actually pretty cool. I like that. It's a nice little Easter egg. Even if that's also arguably a gimmick. At least it's a pretty cool addition. It shows a little wink and nod to the past, in my opinion. Then again, if you want to respect the past, another thing you could do is remake the graphics completely, like Duke 3D Reloaded before it was canceled. And then the dev team subsequently moved on to Rise of the Triad 2013, which is a damn good looking game too. And I'm definitely playing that in the near future, especially considering it actually has quick saving now. Oh, great. Yep, first showcasing of the dog laughing at you because I managed to let them both get away. These ducks are getting tougher. I'm legitimately not doing this on purpose. I swear. Damn ducks. At least I'm within my margin on that one. Yeah, I guess you didn't get enough. Shut up, you freaking dog. I want to shoot you. Ah, crap. Whoops, did not intend to do that. You know what, I think I've played enough. This has been pretty fun. You know, just talking about games of older eras and whether or not it's used as a gimmick or not. Well, like I said, I've got nothing against... Oh, crap, it didn't save anything. That sucks. Oh, well. Anyway, like I said, I'm not trashing on any developers. Strafe is still a pretty fun game. I just think they went a little too far in the gimmick department. Especially on their website, they basically pretend that you're in the 90s again. I think Dusk is better for that. I think they could learn from Dusk. That's just my opinion. But anyway, that is going to have to be it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Make sure to spread this video around like duck hunting. And that damned dog laughing at you every 2 seconds. I will get my revenge, you damn dirty mutt! And I will see you next time. Now go out there and capitalize on life. Peace out, have a good one, and stupid dog, you make me look bad!